Welcome. Hello. Today is the build-up day, and today we learn how to make build-ups together. I want you guys to learn everything that I know, and I want you to understand all the tips and tricks that everyone uses to make their build-ups. So we're going to get into it. I want you to listen to what I have so far in my build-up for this song. Check it. Okay, CPU overload. I'm just kidding, but we in here. Now, this is an original song that I'm working on right now that's going to be released next week. Today, I just released an Akuma flip, so get that in my SoundCloud now and you guys enjoy that. But we need to learn how to do these builds today, and the main thing that we want to go over are all the main elements that we need. First thing we want to understand is timing. So if you see here, this highlighted section is 16 bars. So in all of my songs right now, my buildups are 16 bars, and you can make your buildups longer or shorter depending on your song. That's really up to you, but 16 bars is really a good starting place. And you usually don't use the full 16 bars because like the last 2 bars are right here, and that's going to be like the pre-drop. So yeah, that's the timing. Also, there's a couple different elements that we usually have in the drop. If we look at the effects section, we'll start to see what we have going on here. So what I like to make sure I have are risers. So we have risers like this. These are pitch risers. You can make these in Serum, like a saw riser or square riser, or combine basic shapes and pitch them up. You can add voicing. You can make risers like these. I also add white noise, of course. White noise build. And we have drums. So this is a tom loop. For the tom loop, we have like a crash. Or no, just some perks. And a small kick. We also have some crashes and some snares, this loop. And then we have this as well. So when the breakdown starts, we have this snare going, which is filtered out. And then I start bringing up the filter as it starts to build up. So you combine a lot of snares, claps, and little percussions just to add rhythm during the drop. We also want to make sure that you have like impacts and sweeps. So as you see here, when the breakdown starts, we have impacts, downlifters, kind of like introducing the breakdown. I also have some atmosphere going in the background when the breakdown plays and when the build-up starts at 41 bars. Now, you also want to make sure that you have like a vocal loop. I mean, this is going to help a lot. You don't have to have it, but it's going to make it sound full. And in this situation, I used a Suicide Boys acapella. I chop this up. Then I start looping it. The loop pads. Now with these, when you have these like this, you can also start pitching them up. If you go Complex Pro, this is how you want to pitch things up for snares, vocals, claps. Complex Pro, put the formants down. And then now when we go to the envelopes and start pitching it up, it's going to sound correct and it'll pitch up correctly. So you can go like 5 semitones, for example. And you can start doing that with many of the sounds during the build. Big trick. Use it a lot. You guys should use it too. All right. Now, let's check out the next thing. We do have a sub drop here when the buildup goes, and then it starts, like, goes back up. And then it just bring him down. So this is like the low end, the sub bass. You can also have this in your buildup as well. Not necessary, but it's a nice effect. While my sub's playing, I have a respace going, playing in my scale, which is D minor. So we're playing the root note D, and then F, which is the third. Oh yeah, and then C. So while these are playing, we also have some melodic elements playing. So we have this melody playing throughout the build-up. And this melody is the same melody that I used here in the intro, but during the breakdown and build, I turned it down an octave, -12 semitones, and then we added it during the build just to add like emotion, which you can feel here. And then, as you see, it'll go down, and then the pre-drop will come, and it'll drop. And as you see here, halfway through our 16 bars, at the 8 bars at 41, we want to start adding like fills right before 41. So what I did was I added like a tom fill, which is right here. So this is right before the next 8 bars. While this breakdown and buildup is playing, we have a main kick going. So when the breakdown happens, we have one kick, side chain with the kick, and then it starts to build. And you'll see the side chain is building with it. Boom, and then also we have some like rides that are building with it. So after it builds, we have this 2 bars right here, which is the pre-drop. Now, with that vocal build, it makes it real easy to bring in something cool for the pre-drop. So we use the same thing. We bring in a phrase. I layered it to make it sound fat, and I added like some extra vocals in the background. Right before the drop comes, we have like some extra ear candy. So an extra vocal in the background saying the volt. We have a little stomp, and then we have like some lasers that play as well right before the drop, just to add some cool effect. Oh, and a tom. So this tom is right before the drop, which is at 49. These lasers as well, you can listen here. And that just brings it in, transitions into the drop. Awesome. Now, one thing that you also want to take notice of is adding the bass that you use in your drop in your buildup. So if you listen to our drop here, what we can do is we can resample it. So this is the resampled bass here. They're resampled to audio. If you don't know how to do that, you basically just do this. You go to your mid basses, you hit solo, make a new audio track, go to resample, make sure this is recording, and then you would record Oop, wrong section. Then you would record here. So this is resampled audio right here. This is the full drop, all the basses. So you can copy this. I'll just delete this right now. And basically you would just chop it up like I chopped up my bass here. So this is the one we just resampled right here. This is basically the same thing, as you can see. And what I did is I chopped it up here, as you see. I chopped it up by ear based on how I wanted the rhythm. So I'll just mute some of these sections. And I'll use the auto filter to bring it in, as you see here. So we have some basses coming. This is kind of introducing the bass before the drop. And doing this makes the transition even easier and flow smoother. You can also add different basses during the build, just to add extra, grittiness. And then this is a growl that's just playing on quarter notes, rising up in volume right before the drop. Okay, so those are the main elements that you need for your drop, but I want to go over more extras and more secrets and tips so that you guys can make your build up even better. All right? Extras, extras, extras. So let's do that. But first, I just want to let you guys know, if you want loops, racks, project files, they're in my Patreon. You can get that now and you will have a good time. Let's get into this. Some of the extras that you can do are okay, so I have a couple written down here. So one of them is I put adding a triplet kick to the drop. So when this kick is playing, if you see here, this kick is a triplet kick right here. So usually the kicks would just be like this. But what I did was I made a triplet kick. So instead of it just going dun 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 dun, it goes little triplets right before, adds that little, delay, bounce, groove. And you can use the triplet grid, which you can enter with Command 3, the T right here, and you can start adding some triplet kicks. Also, while the build-up's playing, so remember that tom fill that we were talking about earlier? Instead of having this tom fill, you could totally take it out and you can add a vocal, or even make your own crazy tom fill that you wanted to instead of just two toms. So adding silence in the middle of the buildup will be a big effect. So basically what I mean by that is we would silence everything in this section. And then what we could do in replacement is add a vocal. So let's get one of these, for example.
You will be the...
Who the fuck?
So we could just throw in a vocal in the space. We muted everything. Then, of course, you can add effects to it, mix it in, make it sound even better. But that's a cool trick that you can start doing. Also, on the master, we have what's called the bass clef washout. This is going to basically bring reverb and delay during the buildup, and it's going to wash out the frequencies so we don't hear the sub bass, and we don't feel the bass during the buildup. And the reason we do that is because when the drop comes, we want to make sure that the bass kind of sounds like brand new and the sub sounds as powerful as possible. So that's why we do that. Washout right here is automated on and off during the buildup. And it's also automated on the washout knob, which is washing it So the way I used it was I used the washout during the pre-drop. But what I usually do is I would add the washout during the actual buildup. So you would basically do it like this. Cool, so we'll make sure it's on right here. And then you can wash it out and make it sound cool and a dope. Also, what you can do is you can use a utility and get the automation. And while it's building up, we basically automate the width so it becomes more mono as it goes. So right before the pre-drop, it goes back to normal, but during the buildup, it literally goes mono. That's to add cool effect and awesome pumpiness. So that's also a very cool trick that you guys can start using. So washout, triplet kicks, silence, mono, automation, and also one of the last things I want to show you here would be just adding a filter, you know, to the mid basses, for example. So you can get an auto filter while it's building up. While it's building up, you can just filter out the basses, or you can even go the opposite way. You're going to be using a lot of automation and moving filters up and down so you can add movement throughout the buildup. It's all about creativity here, and I want you guys to learn as much as you can and honestly just practice. Learning is good, but you guys have to practice to actually make sure that this goes into your brain. I hope you guys enjoy this. This is the build-up tutorial. Hit me up for more questions if you need it. In my Instagram, I'm always there. My Patreon has all the other racks. You guys have a good night. Thank you for watching. Peace.